Hello, everybody, wherever you may be around the world, from sea to shining sea. My name's Larry. Happy Memorial Day from K7HN. It's Ham Radio Live. Thank you so much for your subscribing. I ask you to please subscribe to the channel because we don't monetize it. Nope. In fact, it's supposed to be listened to because, I don't have a face for video, Please subscribe. We don't monetize this. We just ask you to subscribe so people that might have an interest in amateur radio can find us and maybe get on the path to a ham radio license. A very happy Monday, Memorial Day, May 31st here in the United States. Wherever you are, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hi, everybody. It's Larry. Welcome back. May 31st. This is cut 2 of the show. For many that know, computer just going to first tell you how to get into amateur radio because that's the passion here. If you'd like to get into amateur radio, there are many ways to do so. All right. Each one of these pages has a contact us link. Just hit that, let them know where you are, and they'll help you get into amateur radio. They'll get a radio club near you to help you. You just contact that radio club, tell them you're interested, and those guys will help you get yourself started. First of all, in the United States, the amateur radio group that we use is the American Radio Relay League. Find them at www.arrl.org. In Japan, they have the Japan Amateur Radio League at www.jarl.org. My favorite group of amateurs in the entire world is right here. That is the Radio Society of Great Britain. Find them at www.rsgb.org. They do great stuff. They keep modifying things and changing things and updating things and just keeping us up to date on what's going on in the world, not only with the sun, but also with antennas and a whole lot of other information. They have a great YouTube channel. Find them. Just search RSGB on YouTube. You'll find them. They do good stuff. Radio Amateurs of Canada is real good. Find them at www.rac.ca. Good group there. And our mates in Australia can get connected to amateur radio by the Wireless Institute of Australia. Find them at www.wia.org. If you've got a question, maybe a comment for the show, or maybe you'd like to find out about a product review, please email me at cqhamradiolive@gmail.com. Welcome to the show. Grateful to see you. Ishmael, first in from Dominica in the Caribbean. My friend, as always, Ishmael, it is so nice to see you. A very happy Monday, Memorial Day to you. Yep. Happy Monday, buddy. Last day of May. Here we come, June. All right, going to talk about, we had a correct answer earlier on this. The question for today's trivia question of Abel, Baker, Charlie, and Dog, which phonetic is actually in the ITU ICAO phonetic alphabet? Is it A, Abel, B, Baker, C, Charlie, or D, Dog? Now, in the last show, before we got cut, we did have a correct answer. UK is on the board with yet another one. They got it correct. Yep, the answer is C, Charlie. That is part of the ICAO phonetic alphabet. A big congratulations to the folks in the UK. It's 2 up there. Good job. So US has 2, UK's got 2, Germany's got 1. People are doing quite well in the contest here for the trivia. That's good stuff. In the news, there's a great thing you can do around the world, wherever you are. Every country has a time station they can hear, usually on the shortwave bands. Now, from June 7th until June the 12th, there is a really neat thing that you can take part in. Ham SCI is looking for ham radio operators to make recordings of the time standard stations where you are in your continent for the June 2021 amateur radio solstice eclipse across the Arctic Circle. It's part of a citizen science experiment they're doing. Researchers will use the crowd-sourced data to investigate the superimposed effects of auroral particle precipitation and the eclipse on HF Doppler shift. Remember, that's happening from June 7th through June 12th. I'll have the link to this in the description section of this video. Also, good thing for the folks in Canada. Yeah, we're going to help them celebrate their Independence Day this year. Everybody should do that. That'd be cool. Now, the interesting thing about this contest is going to be Thursday, so not on a normal weekend schedule. Nope, it's on a Thursday. So July 1st, just a few days ahead of the U.S. Independence Day, take part in that. It's the Radio Amateurs of Canada, and they invite you to try and reach them. The exchange for this is just going to simply be a typical number exchange. So if a VK, say for example, a VE or a VA station calls you and you return the call, you would respond with your call sign and a sequential number. So that's the exchange. So for in my case, for example, let's say I was working somebody in British Columbia, I would respond back with, Kilo 7 Hotel November 001, right? Because that's the first one I've got. And then I just sequentially go up from there. That is your exchange for this contest. So remember, coming up on Thursday, July 1st, that's an odd day for a contest, but it still is happening, which is pretty cool. On the forecast for ham radio, here we go. SFI, not as good as we'd hoped. Really, we hoped by the end of May we'd be in the 80s. We really did. But unfortunately, we just couldn't get there. So we're 74 at the end of the month. An A index of 6, a K of 1. And then we've got good conditions, though, 47% chance of a solar flare. And we do have a couple of coronal holes that are getting close to facing the Earth right now. We'll keep an eye on all of that. There is some good news on 6 and 4 as there's eSkip available. World map of maximum usable noise floors around the world. So noise floors, let's begin this time in Europe. In England, we've got an S3 on 40, S3 on 20. Germany's at an S2 on 40, S2 on 20. In Russia, S4 on 40 meters, S3 on 20. And I went through about 4 SDRs throughout Russia to make sure this was going to be good, so it really is. Same thing with China, went through 3 there, and this is accurate. So those numbers are a little higher, 40 and 20, both at S5s. In Australia and New Zealand, there is some sort of a noise issue going on 40 meters right now. Decent noise floor, but there is some QRN going on. 40 meters in Australia, S3, 20 meters, S3. In New Zealand, currently 40 meters, S3, and an S1 on 20. In Hawaii, we've got an S3 on 40, S3 on Hawaii's side on 20. In Argentina, out of Buenos Aires, 40 meters is S2, 20 meters, S3. In Brazil, 40 is S2, and an S3 showing up in Brazil. South Africa, we've got an S7 out of Johannesburg and an S6 going out on 20 meters. Maximum usable frequency, 17 meters, looks great today. Really does. 18.89 in Ascension Island, the highest in the Earth right now. Athens, Greece at 2304. Nye Island at 20.31. Darwin, Australia. It's about 2 points higher than yesterday, so a great day for working. We'll get to that in the forecast. Darwin right now at 10.52. Boulder, Colorado, 18.55. And up in Alaska, we're at 16.17. The forecast today, ham daytime bands look like 20 through 15 look good for voice. Data should be good on all the bands, really. I mean, you shouldn't have a problem. Could be some 10-meter openings today as well, as some eSkip on 6 meters and 4 meters. Ham nighttime frequencies tonight, 160, 80, and 75, 60, 40, 30. And I believe you got about an 80% or better chance of SSB operation tonight. So voice should work you some great DX on 20 meters. And I mean well after midnight. Yep, you'll probably get it well after midnight. 20 should be lit up. Seriously. Shortwave bands today, 31, 25, 19, 16, and today we had 13 meters. There could also be a possible 16-meter opening today. Most likely, because the MUFs they just support it right now, so 16 should be open today on the shortwave side. On the nighttime frequencies for shortwave, 120, 90, 75, 60, 49, 41, 31, 25, and 19. Should find most of your activity on 75, 49, and as well as the 25-meter band. Also, 19's not bad in the summer, so you've got good chance for some contacts you can listen to on shortwave tonight on those frequencies. Welcome to the show, everybody. We'll say a quick hello again to you all, and again, my apologies. New computer is 11 days away, and trust me, no one's counting those days down more than myself, trust me. It is nuts. Welcome, Rod Clare from South Salem, Oregon. Kilo 7 Lima Alpha Papa. That call sign has some great meaning for him as well because it's his grandchildren's initials in it. Pretty cool. Rod, thank you so much for coming. Nikolai is back from Romania. Nikolai, you know it's always a pleasure for me to see you. I hope you like the show. This should have some elements in it for both you and John over in Canada for a great starter antenna as well as a really good radio to start with. Both are affordable. So I hope you like today's show. It's going to be really, really good for both of you, I hope. All right? We've got a question from the island of, I'm going to say it right here, Dominica. There we go. Ishmael, what's a good amplifier for 600 watt, 10 pounds, or like around 12 pounds and less than 400 US? I think probably it'd be a home brew. I really would. I mean, I think the best amplifier you can get in that price range is going to be the Ameritron 811. I think that's going to be your amp, really. I think it's a good amplifier. Be careful with the tubes. Make sure you understand how to tune it, load it, and keep the SWR good, okay? So again, but it's going to be more, you know, you're going to weigh more than 12 pounds. At least that's my opinion on that, right? We're going to take a look at a radio that has been discontinued by Kenwood. However, it is very much available on sites like QRZ, QTH, eBay, those kind of places. Remember, eBay tends to charge more for things. I want to caution you on eBay a little bit. You'll always seem to get a better buy and a more trusted seller, usually on QRZ. Find this radio there, and I'm telling you, it's really brilliant. Now, the only caveat is it will go 200 watts, okay? This is a radio. It's called the Kenwood TS-480HX. It's literally a two-piece radio. It's kind of like the ICOM 7100. You get the head unit, and then behind that is the main radio. Now, the good thing about this is it goes 200 watts, but to do 200, you're going to need two power supplies. Here's a really nice review from a ham, and I'm going to have his video down in the description section here of the show, which will give you a link to his channel. He's using the 480HX. Take a look.
Mike, Italy Yankee 4, Fox Golf Mike, calling the X and standing by. Secure the X, secure. Delta Lima 1, Kilo Romeo Tango, QSL? QSL, very good morning to you. My name is Salvatore. Florida 2, Yankee Tango. Papa, America 8, Zulu Bravo, Papa Alpha 8, Zulu Bravo 5 and 9.
Good morning and welcome again to YO2LIW Shack. This time it's a small presentation of a TS-480HX. It's a 200 watts version of the TS-480, the Kenwood transceiver, compact transceiver, very well built, a small footprint, and a great receive audio and also TX audio. So this was a short sample of sound of this Kenwood.
Delta Juliet 0, America Hotel, you are 5 and 9. Okay. Florida, 1514. Florida, 1514.
So this is the head of the radio, and this is the body of the radio. So this is the 200 watt version, so it requires one power supply.
Okay, now I'm going to stop right there, okay, because this actually requires two. He'll correct that. Now, if you take a close look, there are two power cables hooked up to it, so it will work at 200 watts. If you want to use this radio at 100 watts, you got one power supply, no problem. But if you want to work it at 200, you've got to use an extra power supply. Okay, we'll continue.
At least 40 amps at 13.8 volts. And or to power supply, actually use a Nalinko, which is a 30 amp maximum, so I didn't use full power, only about 100 watts. It has two coolers, and the good sign is the good fact is that they are not so noisy, and they only kicked in very not very often, and that's a good thing, I guess. It has two antenna sockets. Also, you have all connection that you need. This is the connection between the head of the radio and the body of the radio, and this is the microphone connection, the speaker data, and it also supplied a RS232 connector for the cat interface. The radio is in good condition, has no scratches or whatsoever. It's in very good condition. It put out a little bit more than 200. It's 240 watts actually output, and I wasn't very happy, let's say, at first with the radio in two parts. Actually, you can buy additionally a support where you can install both the body and of the radio and the head of the radio, so you can have the radio in one part. But I discovered that it's very easy to use it like this. You can put the radio, the body of the radio, in another part, another side of the other side of the table, or anywhere, and the head of the radio where you like it. So it's very easy to move it. It's a small footprint, and it has also, despite the fact it's a small footprint, you have a good ergonomy. You have the audio in and out, you have the squelch, you can preset the PFK to put in 10 watts output for tuning. It has a attenuator preamp at your fingertip. It has 3 memories for CW, and in case there is a VGS recording unit, and inside you can use it for SSB. It has also a TX monitor, and the RF gain is on the button. You can set a delay for CW, noise blanker. Actually, it's a very good noise blanker. Processor, it's modulation liked. With the processor, the modulation is very good, and it has punch. It has all it needs. You can switch between the compression, SWR, and ALC to monitor permanently the parameters of the radio. You have a fine tuning for the CW and DG modes actually. The filter, you can customize the filter.
C'est également donc en Balagne, en Balagne. Voilà, amitié et toujours au plaisir. Allez, 94 GPA, Tango Kilo, barre de fraction.
Provide a good audio even on a lower bandwidth. The upper side and the lower side. It's a very silent receiver. Actually, is that what I liked most of this this rig. It's a very silent. It has a good sound, Kenwood-like sound. It's a pleasure to work with. The full break-in on CW, it's very good. I also have an ICOM 746 non-pro model, and the QSK is not so, full break-in is not so good as this on this Kenwood. So it's a very good QSK even on high speed, and the relay it's not noisy at all. This is a very good thing. It has the noise reduction.
Texas kilowatt / Florida 2 Yankee Tango 215.
It is configurable, of course. Noise reduction 2, it's for CW. It's easy to work split. For instance, if you want to work on split with this one, actually press A = B, and then you set the VFOB on a frequency, let's say 255, and I put the VFOB onto 60. Then press long for split. So when I press the PDT, very easy to. You can also monitor the split frequency by pressing short on up and down keys. So very easy monitoring. What I also like about this radio is the upper right of the radio. You have a dedicated RIT-XIT with a clear button also. So this is also a good thing.
Non l'ascolto, dopo l'ascolto sento il bisbiglio nel QRM. Allora, citofono Palermo, Salvatore non ti ascolta. Poi quando devi andarti, ogni volta sei a Gennaro.
So that's the Kenwood TS-480HX, and what I love this comment here from Bergs in Sweden. Finally, a good radio for new hams. He's exactly right. This not only will help you learn to be a good ham radio operator because it's got the good filtering, it also can be available to be hooked up to a TXCO for really solid and stable frequency, stabilization. But it also comes with so much extra power. The extra 100 watts can really make a difference sometimes. It's not huge, but it can make a difference over a rig that has 100 watts. Let's take a look at some recent sales on the 480HX, just to give you an idea. Now, this is, I know, very small, but I'll get it bigger for you. There you go. There you go, $800, okay? And that's, of course, he wants it local pickup. If you want to ship it, then you can do so. But $800, that's pretty much what they're at. And, you can get it for like $750 as well. You can find one for $700 or $750. It's a really good price. Here's another recently sold Kenwood TS-480HX. Here it is, $825 right there. So gives you a good idea of what you can get one of these transceivers for. And what you get out of it is a radio you probably aren't going to want to sell. And the reason why is because it has the extra 100 watts, excellent filtering. And if you listened when he even tuned in the bandwidth, for new hams, when you narrow the bandwidth down to, say, 2.3, 1.8, even 1.6 as he did, and you can still understand the person and they're clearer, what it does is it removes some of the QRN out. So it'll take away some of the noise on the frequency and focus only on the signal itself. This is a fantastic starter rig. It really is. A very good one made by Kenwood and one that I highly recommend. Real good. For new hams, absolutely. Yeah, it's one you want. Now, we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit. We talked a little bit about Kenwood and this transceiver. We're also going to talk about a great starter antenna. One of the things that I always say on the channel is an antenna is it is the most important part of your shack. Antenna and feeder. It's just way too important. There is a really good, and people may think, okay, that means you got to spend the money for a, Riyagi or directional. Well, that'd be great. That's really expensive. Okay. Some people like me can't start out that way. There's a really good antenna that you can buy for under $100, and it will literally help you to work the world. It's called the ZS6BKW. I've talked about it many times on the channel, but I've never really done a segment on it. Let me tell you a little about it and its history. This started out way back in 1946. Louis Varney invented the G5RV antenna right after World War II. Now, an interesting little side note. His call sign, G5RV, his wife, bless her heart, she made sure to give that call sign to a ham club. Yeah, it was actually given away to the Mid-Sussex Amateur Radio Society. So they now have the call sign G5RV in UK. It's pretty sweet. But in the early 80s, Brian Austin, who was a South African operator at the time, call sign Zulu Sierra 6 Bravo Kilo Whiskey, started using a computer to try and modify the G5RV and make it have more gain, especially on bands like 17 and 20. And what he discovered was by shortening up the radiator links, which is your antenna wire itself, from where it was at 102 feet on the G5RV and getting it down to 91 feet, it made a huge difference. But it came at a cost. The feeder coming down the ladder line was longer by 9 feet. It all of a sudden from 31 feet goes to 40. This is an excellent antenna, an excellent wire antenna to have at 40 feet high or higher. Now, if you don't have trees like me, you can get an adjustable mast to help get you that high. Make sure you guy it, a couple places to keep it steady in the wind. But you can put this antenna up at 40 feet, even at a really steep inverted V angle, and do some amazing things with this antenna. Strangely enough, the man who invented this antenna, Matthew Kaskovich, is sorry, that's the guy who's doing the video. Excuse me. The man who invented this antenna, Brian Austin, he now has a call sign Golf Zero, Golf Sierra, Foxtrot, and he doesn't even accept QSL cards anymore. He said, I have a box full I don't need anymore. But he's now in Great Britain, and he's still alive. He's just enjoying his retirement years, which is pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Yeah. We take a look at a video that talks about this. It's done by Kilo Zero Lima Whiskey Charlie. His name is Matthew Kaskovich. He talks about not only his experience of putting up this antenna, but also its performance. Now, this is going to be surprising not only to new hams, but also hams that maybe have been in the hobby for quite a while. This antenna truly performs. And right now, Amateur Radio Supply has it for sale for $69.95. It's on sale right now for $69.95. Let's take a look at Matthew's video. I'll have it as well in the description section of this video.
Hey everyone, welcome to the K0LWC, well, QTH, Backyard, Antenna Palace, whatever you want to call it. A lot of you ask me, what do I use on HF for an antenna to make all my contacts? Well, that is exactly what we're going to cover today. Let's check it out. So this is my backyard. As you can see, I have some ladder line going up here, and this is my wire antenna. This is what's known as a ZS6BKW. Now, if you don't know what a ZS6BKW is, it's pretty simple. It is a simple dipole. It is a modified version of a G5RV. Now, a G5RV is slightly longer in the actual wire elements up here on the flat top side, but a little bit shorter in the ladder line. So what somebody did was they found a way to improve on the G5RV original design. Now, the G5RV is a very popular antenna for emergency and portable work, beginners alike. It really is a good antenna no matter what anybody out there tries to tell you. But the ZS6BKW does have some distinct advantages. Probably the biggest is the fact that by retuning this antenna between the length of the wire at the top and the ladder line, it is now resonant on 5 different HF bands without a tuner. That's right. You can use this antenna across 5 HF bands, no tuner, or at the very least, use the internal antenna tuner on your radio. That's huge. Now, with that increase in efficiency, by making it resonant across multiple bands by changing the length of the wires, again, a little bit more gain. This antenna actually performs a little bit better and performs a little bit better toward the horizon than a G5RV on most bands. So what that means is if you really want to work some DX, talk to some other countries around the world, the ZS6BKW is a better option than a standard size G5RV. Now, of course, there's a little slight disadvantage here. To be able to get all this change in performance, the ladder line is about 10 feet longer on a ZS6 compared to a G5RV. What that means is you're going to have to get it up a little bit higher because you don't want any of that ladder line touching the ground whatsoever. So that is one knock. If you're going to have trouble finding tall enough trees or tall enough masts to get this up at least 40 feet, you may be better off with a G5RV just because that ladder line is shorter. But come with me, let me show you how I installed mine. It's by no means the best way. I tossed it up in like a few hours just to get on the air this winter, but it's pretty good. Let's take a look. All right, this is the actual southeast leg of the antenna here. You'll notice that I do have a pulley installed here. Now the pulley is key. The pulley is going to allow me to raise and lower the antenna, let's say if we're going to get an ice storm, a heavy wet snowstorm, or if I want to just do some antenna maintenance. I can lower this entire antenna down without having to worry about restringing it back up in the trees again. So getting a good pulley system is really, really important and really great if you can do it. It goes back and supports to this tree back here, and I have a tie-off line down here at the bottom of this tree where I have my rope tied off. But again, the pulley is right there. Right here is actually the end of the ZS6BKW. You can see the insulator right there. So that is the actual stopping point of the antenna. I just wanted to give it some more room so it's not too close to that metal pulley. All right, so walking underneath, again, this is facing east-southeast. This way is east-southeast. Looking back up this way, here it goes right over the top corner of my house. Not the best situation. Just ask my wife about how I get some RF into the house at times. But let's go take a look over down here and see what I have for my entry panel, as well as the actual balun here at the end of the antenna. This is my coax entry panel. Some of you may have seen the other video I made about this. This is actually a product from K7FP Metalworks out of Utah. What a fantastic product. Pricey, but really nice craftsmanship. This is a really nice professional way to put coax into your house and make your wife happy, believe me. Let's open it up. So inside the box here on the left-hand side, I have my LMR 400. That is actually what is running my HF antenna. You can see I have my connection to the ground here. That runs off to the ground rod. Very important, I have my 15-month-year-old son, Bib, stuffed in there for the most amazing insulation you could ever imagine. And there on the right-hand side, the lightning arrestor there in the middle, of course, and that's LMR 600 on the bottom and LMR 600 Ultraflex on the top for my VHF and UHF operations. So now as we come around to where the antenna actually terminates here, I want to show you some very important stuff about making sure you're waterproof your antenna system. So here on the balun, you'll notice that you probably can tell a lot of electrical tape, right? And that's certainly one way to go about it. That's kind of like an outer core for me. But there's about 3 to 4 layers of coax seal on both the top cap and on the bottom here near where the coax meets the balun. So important to make sure you're keeping water out of your antenna system. So before you go and rush and put up that antenna, make sure you buy coax seal. It's like $5. It doesn't cost anything, but it's worth its weight in gold in keeping water out. So making sure you're wrapping your coax connections if it's exposed to the elements with coax seal, or again in this case I'm just trying to keep water out of that balun with those cores in there, so the top cap is also wrapped. So make sure you do that. Again, the genuine LMR 400 here coming into the antenna, and notice it is not touching the ground. You don't want your ladder line laying on the ground. You want to make sure you're able to get your antenna high enough to get your ladder line up and off. Now, mine's touching the deck here. It's less than optimal, but I'm gonna have to wait and deal with that next year once I go ahead and move my antenna. It'll have to work for now, and it does. It's working good, so I can't complain, but just make sure that you can get it high enough where this is not curled on the ground, because if you have that, you're gonna have a really tough time with your SWR and loading up the antenna properly. All right, now let's take a look at the northwestern leg of my antenna. And I will say my neighbors have been really nice in letting me anchor my antenna to some of the trees on their side of the property and the wetland, and they haven't killed me yet, so that's a win, right? So taking a look over the tree here, you can just see my center conductor just over the top of my house. There is my Diamond X300 VHF UHF antenna, and then again my antenna runs all the way up here to this tree. Now the height at the end, and if we get a little closer you can see where that insulator is up there, it's probably getting close to about 70 to 75 feet here. So again, there is a little bit of a slope to this antenna. It does have a little bit of a natural grade going that way, and I'll tell you, we'll take a look at it in a second. This antenna does favor the east coast and southeast, so maybe that slope's actually having a little bit more effect than I think it is. But that's the leg there. This was the biggest pain to get the rope over this tree, because this tree is 100 feet tall. I can't tell you how lucky I was to get it over, and huge help from Benton, who is the president of the Maple Grove Radio Club out here in Minnesota, for coming to help me out. That one was a beast, but we got it. I'm so happy to have that leg up, because again, with the dipole, as high as you can get it, that's what you want. There is no such thing really for most people as having it too high, unless you have some ridiculous situation. All right, guys, I just want to quickly bring you to the front of my house here, just to show you what it looks like from the street view, aka my neighbor's view. You can definitely see my Diamond X300 vertical here. You can see the center conductor for the ZS6BKW. There it is on the west-northwest leg, and then it kind of gets hidden by the house here as you go down to the east-southeast leg over this way. You definitely can see it from the street. I think this is a nice compromise for the neighbors because I sure would like to have a 60-foot tower with a Yagi behind my house, but this keeps the neighbors happy, keeps the wife happy. Again, a keen eye, you can see it, but it's not too bad. But let's take a look and see just how well I'm doing on this wire with all my contacts in the US and all the countries I've gotten so far. Let's hop over to the computer and take a look at them. So what I've done is plot all the contacts from my logbook to this point with Log Analyzer 3.2 onto a map. Now there are a lot of programs out there that do this. This is just the one that I like to use, so you can use whatever you find out there. There's lots of them like this. Now take a look at this, folks. This is 1 month of operating the ZS6BKW. 4 weeks. Don't let anyone tell you that a ZS6BKW dipole is garbage. It's simply not true. The results on your screen speak for themselves. And now, if you take a look at where I do the best, obviously I do really well out here in the Northeast. Let's zoom in, take a little closer look at this. Definitely New York City, Long Island area, New Jersey, definitely get a lot of great reports. Southern Ontario, definitely get a ton of good reports out of there. And look at Florida, wow, just a pipeline. Down into Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, there is definitely a lobe off my antenna, and this might be some of that little bit of favoring with the slope of the antenna. It just does really super well straight down this vein right here. I get a ton of Georgia and a ton of Florida 5.9. I got another good lobe down in here into Texas as well. East Texas and Central Texas do really well out that direction. The West, not as much. It's not like I can't speak to the West Coast or any of the other states out there. It's just I don't do as well. And again, maybe it has to do with the fact that my antenna is slightly sloped to the east-southeast. That definitely could play a factor. But still, get some great 5.9 reports out of Colorado, a bunch out of Utah, have Montana, Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona. They're all here. But here's some really great ones. I love getting and talking up in here to Alberta and Saskatchewan. Look at this guy up here. Way up here outside of Whitehorse in the Yukon Territory. I mean, way up there. And also 3 contacts so far in Alaska. But you know what? My favorite contact when it comes to the frigid north is over this direction. Take a look at this guy. He's basically west of Greenland. He's like 100 miles off the Arctic Circle. I mean, he's way up there. We chatted on 17 meters for I think a good 10 or 15 minutes. He was 5.8 here into Minnesota. And of course, Nova Scotia, Quebec City area do pretty well out that direction. And then over into Europe. Definitely getting contacts into Italy, France, Portugal, Spain, Belgium, the UK, Ireland, the Czech Republic, Slovenia. Definitely 17 meters in the morning, boy. This works really, really well. So get on 17 at like, 7, 8, 9 a.m. local time, and you'll do a really fantastic job with DX. Also made a bunch of contacts here off the coast of Africa, as well as down in here to South Africa. Perhaps my favorite, because it really is like one of the longest contacts for me in Minnesota, is Japan. Yes, just outside of Tokyo, I've made 2 contacts, one on FT8 and one on sideband. The sideband contact, he was 5.8 on gray line propagation. We talked for a good 10 minutes, no problem. Back and forth. That was a really fun contact because he came out of nowhere when I was calling CQ. So again, the results speak for themselves, folks. These are really fantastic antennas. Don't listen to anyone that says, oh, they're garbage, oh, they're trash. Yes, it's not the best antenna you can put up, but this thing will work the world for you, no problem. Like any wire antenna, just get it up at least 40 feet and you'll be in really good shape. Again, mine's probably around 45, 47 feet at the center conductor. And again, you can see the results and it works supremely well. Let me just take a look at some more of slides. This comes from W5DDL, and this is why he likes the ZS6BKW. Has low SWR and several ham bands at the matching point at the end of the ladder line. This means lower losses in the coax cable. It definitely, which is what I love, number 2, can be operated without an outboard tuner on at least 5 HF bands. It's a simple antenna. It doesn't cost a lot if you want to make this antenna. The patterns are reasonable for both local comms and DX work. There's so many reasons to like this, but what I wanted to show you is the actual pattern here on this antenna. Here's the G5RV in red, and here is the ZS6BKW pattern in black. And you can notice that, again, broadside, this antenna actually does better than a G5RV. Remember how we talked about it's a little bit better for DX work? Take a look at this. In red, the G5RV, black ZS6BKW. See how you're getting a little bit more power down toward the horizon? That means better DX contacts for you. Down here at the chart, it's worth noting, when you take a look here at the gain, again, in this run of data, 6.4 dBi theoretical for the G5RV, and then 8.5 with that greater efficiency in the ZS6BKW. So again, you're going to have more gain from a ZS6BKW than a G5RV. Now, when we actually plot that onto the radiation patterns, we can really tell how much of a difference it makes if you're really looking to work some DX by dropping that takeoff angle a little bit lower on the ZS6. Just look at how much farther you're going to be able to get in with your lobes around the globe just by making a little bit better of a signal push toward the horizon. This is on 20 meters here. We scroll down, take a look at 40. Like most 40 antennas, again, pretty omni. It's all over the place. It's a great 40-meter antenna, especially if you have a low noise floor. Mine in suburbia, not so great. I do a ton of work on 17 meters, folks, and this is a great 17-meter antenna. I've worked so much European DX on this antenna, and I'm just working more and more every week. So again, don't let anyone tell you it's garbage. It's a great multi-band dipole compromise antenna. It really is fantastic, and you will have a ton of fun using this antenna. I can't recommend it enough as a first antenna for a ham radio operator, or even if not, I mean, even if you're just looking for a good antenna and you don't have a ton of room, this is a fantastic choice. If you haven't, hit that like button, thumbs up, it'll help.
There you go. That is Matthew Kaskovich, call sign Kilo Zero Lima Whiskey Charlie, with his presentation about the ZS6BKW wire antenna. Great dipole and computer modified from the G5RV. And what's really cool is the guy that did it still alive in the UK. No more QSO cards. That's some pretty cool stuff. Also, the report that he mentioned was courtesy of Whiskey 5 Delta Delta Lima. The report showed the takeoff angle and showed all of the graphs and everything. That was actually done by Larry James LeBlanc back in 2010 for the AARA Ham Radio Club. Very nice presentation. You can find that at w5delta-delta-lima.org, and I'll have that in the description section as well. If you want more information about this antenna versus a G5RV and why it's better in terms of gain, it'll be there for you in the description section of this video. I appreciate you coming. Thank you. Yep. All right, so where are we at on this end? Well, we're going to be using the ASU FTDX 5000 here for a little while, and we'll be showing you how it works, and I'm kind of excited about that. That's my favorite radio, really is, and it usually is covered. It just usually I keep it covered because I don't want anything to happen to it. It's my favorite radio. It's the one I always wanted, so I always keep in good shape. So we'll be doing some work using that transceiver here on the channel while we wait to replace it with a rig that has a video out for all of you to see on YouTube. In the meantime, I want to thank you for your patience today. I apologize, man. There's a lot of money going out for a dog surgery, a brother's hearing aids, a new computer, and maybe a transceiver down the road. How that's getting here, I just don't know. We'll leave it up to the Lord, but I'm grateful that you came. Thank you for coming. Folks, the whole passion here, truly, is to help people get into amateur radio, as well as help those who are in ham radio to do well. That's why we do things like the news articles that we provide for you, as well as the Expedition news. We always do those Fridays. The Expedition, contests, as well as special event stations, always on Fridays, just to give you that information for the weekend. We also provide you current conditions around noise floors and, about maximum usable frequency around the world, so you know exactly what's going on, as well as my forecast. And this might differ from what you see on QRZ. Plus, it gives shortwave folks an opportunity to see what's going on their end. There just isn't enough information for shortwave people. And we'll be doing some shortwave content here more and more. You'll see that. You'll also see another antenna review tomorrow on the channel that I'm really looking forward to you seeing, as well as eSkip. This is the time of year in North America that eSkip is really working. So North America, Europe, Asia, the Northern Hemisphere, this is eSkip season for us. So we'll do a great video that a dear friend, Randy age over at, he's just south on Gold Beach, Oregon from me now. He was in Northern California, but Randy did a great job. K7AGE, love his stuff. So we're going to close it at this point. Tom's going to do the same thing in the Middle East, and I thank you for watching the channel. I don't monetize here. I don't make a dime for doing this. I do it because I really want to help other people. 19 years, I didn't know they took code out of the requirement, and we've been blessed to help 18 people get into the hobby by licensing or licensing up. Just need one more. One more email that says you helped me license up or license. That will just, man, I'll be screaming till the day is done for that. In the meantime, if you would like to get an amateur radio, ARRL is a great place for you to start. Find them at www.arrl.org. Across the pond in the UK, they've got, I think, the best radio society in the world, the Radio Society of Great Britain. Find them at www.rsgb.org. And if you're in Australia, contact the Wireless Institute of Australia at www.wia.org. Also, today's trivia question of Abel, Baker, Charlie, and Dog, which phonetic is actually in the ITU ICAO phonetic alphabet? And we had an answer that was correct when we first cut this show. Sean, 2 Echo 0, yeah, X-Ray Bravo Tango. He got it correct. The answer is Charlie. Well done. Congratulations on getting it correct. You did it. You got her, mate. Good work. Good work. That's pretty cool. So we do try and help people to get into ham radio, and we do our best to try and show you products as well as reviews and items that will help you in your ham radio or shortwave life. In the meantime, I want to thank you for watching. My name's Larry, and my call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. The very best to you and your family, and God bless you this Memorial Day. Thank you for watching. Until tomorrow at 1900 UTC, goodbye, everybody.
Well, the temperature at the moment at Channel is still 8 degrees centigrade, and the time just coming up to 17.5 minutes past midnight. Well, working here behind the scenes tonight have been David Evans and Paul Murray, and they join me now in wishing you a very good night. Good night.
It's not done yet. Hang in there. Gotta learn how to turn your TV off and unplug it here.
Well, as usual, as we come to the end of our night, a reminder to you to turn off your set and to pull the socket out, the plug out from the wall socket as well. Sorry, teeth in the wrong order. Stay warm, stay safe, sleep well. Good night.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Wile E. Coyote. Genius. Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same